let's start a club called the $100 Club. And the first year we did it, we had 25 people pitch in $100 each as our somewhat, member dues. And we raised, I don't know, some people pitched in more, but I think we raised like $3,000 right before Christmas, and we went and bought a truckload of toys. And we delivered it to Toys for Tots with the Marines. And so that was pretty cool. And then the second year we started this, it was still kind of, fly by the seat of our pants. Let's do it again this year. And man, it was kind of overwhelming turnout. I think we raised probably $17,000, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. And what was cool about it is we engaged a lot of the community and the families and the kids. So,
welcome to Contracting Combos with me, your host, Ryan Groff. This show is all about bringing value to the contracting community at large. So what I do is I interview people who are making a real difference in the contracting community. And what we do is we have conversations about how to help members of the industry grow. We believe that if people are growing, the industry's growing, everyone will benefit. And I foster these conversations. So glad you're here. Please like, share, comment, and thanks for tuning in. All right, welcome to Contracting Combos here. I'm Ryan Groth, and I'm really excited to have Austin Montgomery on today's show. So recently I put out on my network, I wanted to hear who would like to be interested in learning or in talking about how they, as a contractor, are engaging their community, giving back, doing some kind of social change effort, and how that can either benefit the community or their business. And so Austin reached out, and we've been chatting. He's been telling me some pretty cool things about what he's been up to. And so really excited to, have this opportunity to kind of chat a little bit about that. So Austin, why don't you go ahead and share who you are? I know you're with Montgomery Construction and Roofing. Give us a little background of your company and what you do at the company, where you guys are located, things like that.
So we are located in Waco, Texas. I've been in the commercial roofing industry going on about 16 years now. I started my 8th grade summer out on the field, picking up shingles, and just worked my way up the ladder from there, and eventually went all low slope, started out in PVC side, and then learned my way through the TPOs and all the different single plies. And so our company has been around for about 23 years, 95, so 22, 23 years as a general contractor. And then about 5 years ago, I came on with the company, and we are now probably 95% commercial roofing company. That's strictly what we focus on. And the good thing about us is having a commercial general contracting background. We know the entire envelope of the building. And I think that's really crucial when it comes time to re-roofing or repairs or leaks, and investigating those things. We can give a better detailed and knowledgeable answer. Because a lot of times the leak may not be coming from, the problem may not be the source of from the roof. So it may be other things with the building, and we're able to diagnose that. So that's a good thing about our company. And like I said, we've been going strong now for about 5 years. We did in the beginning do some residential, but now I'd say we're probably 90% commercial, working on schools, public, government work, low slope, clay tiles, just about anything you can think of, we work on it on commercial building.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Austin. It's pretty neat, working with your family to have that foundation laid and be able to step into that. It's really cool. And I see, a lot of folks, in our generation who are doing such a great job with that and, adopting the new things. And one of the things that I'm noticing is, I don't want to call it trendy because that's doesn't really do this justice, but there's a lot of companies who are really engaging the community and really giving back. And I am a little biased. I think that our generation is really excited about companies who are doing something that's just bigger than themselves. They're a part of something that's larger than just a paycheck. And, when a company has, value system and they're actually taking action with those values, it makes for an attractive environment. People stay longer. People want to be a part, because, it's not just like we're working for the man, or themselves, but they're working for something else. And so I'm finding that that's something that's really powerful. However, there's a cost to it. There's money involved, there's time, and it's an investment, and it's a sacrifice. So I'd like to know how you guys are doing that in terms of your community, engagement, involvement at some degree that's, doesn't have a tangible ROI. It's right. It's not like you're saying, hey, I'm going to spend my money and give away a roof, or however, folks are doing it. And we're going to know we're going to get this many dollars back. It's not as predictable. However, there is value to it. So I think that it's powerful when someone's branding and positioning their brand in a way that has a selflessness about it. I think there's a ton that goes with that. So what I want to do on this series, I'm going to have you and a few more guys on. I just want to know what you're doing and how that looks and things like that.
So for me, we are pretty heavily involved in the community. Not just myself, but our employees and the owners. We're all heavily involved in some form or fashion. I myself, I serve on several different boards. I'm on the advisory board for the local AGC chapter, which is the Associated General Contractors, and I represent the roofing division on that board. And that gets me involved with a lot of different general contractors. And going back to seeing how you're saying that our generation likes to see people that are involved. I think it's very important. I think if you just do your job from 8 to 5, you're not gonna succeed as much. I won't say you won't not succeed, but I think you get a better following when you're outside of your normal 8 to 5 job. So when you get it comes down to networking, and at the end of the day, people buy from people. And that's what really gets me a lot of my customers and a lot of people that trust me, is they know that I'm involved in different things. And, I back that up. So like I said, I'm with the AGC, and then I'm also on the Planning and Zoning Commission for our local town, which keeps me involved with our local town. And then, of course, church. I serve in different areas at the church, and different community activities. We've got a nonprofit that we do here in town that we give back to people in need, kids in need. We try to raise money for whatever charitable cause there is out there. So we do a lot of different things like that. We necessarily don't get into the whole giveaway roof thing. We try to do that in different ways for us. We get involved with the school, our local school. That's where our office is located. Other than that, I think it's, like I said, it's very important to be involved in the community, because you never know who you're going to meet. And I myself am getting involved with the local technical college to start becoming a recruiter for the kids out there. I say kids, but young adults that are getting ready to graduate. That way we can also do tours on site to see what the trade is actually about and what we do, and why the commercial roofing industry is pretty exciting. It's not just every day that you're putting on a flat roof. You might be putting on some slate tile, or there's several different things that you get to do that are pretty cool. And it's a craftsmanship for sure, and that's how we try to keep it and treat it. So
cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That sounds like you quite busy, quite involved. I mean, certainly helping the contracting industry in and of itself by being involved with these associations. There's a lot of power in that when you're in a room full of competitors, but you're like, hey, for the betterment of our market, for the betterment of what we're trying to do, let's do this, or let's train on this, or let's bring this guy in, or let's get involved. So I think that's really important. And, I find that the best contractors that I typically get to interact with are doing something, or have served as a president at some degree. And it raises the bar, but let's talk about that nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, or, what the nonprofit is? Why did you start it? And what has come out of that, if anything? Is it in business? As Contact said, man, the reason I ask is, people, when they know that your money is not just going into your yacht or your private airplane, which there's nothing wrong with those things. I think they're pretty awesome. But when people are knowing, gosh, these guys are giving their money into something, they feel a lot better spending a little bit more to do business with you than they think that if you're just, some redneck roofer, right? I mean, that's just what the people think, right? So like talk to me about what that looks like at the nonprofit, why, and has there been, if any, fruit of that from a business standpoint, because people know you're helping kids, right? So let's talk about those things.
Well, I'll first say that I don't have a yacht and I don't have a plane, so I don't have those. But a friend of mine who is also a contractor here in town, he came to me a couple years ago, and a couple of these guys are my competitors. But us as a group, we decided, hey, let's start a club called the $100 Club. And the first year we did it, we had 25 people pitch in $100 each as our somewhat, member dues. And we raised, I don't know, some people pitched in more, but I think we raised like $3,000 right before Christmas, and we went and bought a truckload of toys, and we delivered it to Toys for Tots with the Marines, and so that was pretty cool. And then the second year we started this, it was still kind of, fly by the seat of our pants. Let's do it again this year. And man, it was kind of overwhelming turnout. I think we raised probably $17,000, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. And what was cool about it is we engaged a lot of the community and the families and the kids. So we raised $100 from each person. And, like I said, some people gave more, but, the minimum commitment was $100. And we went out to H-E-B and Cabela's and a few other places, and we invited all the family and friends and the kids, especially the kids. The kids was a big deal, is to get the kids out there, get a basket, and just go fill this basket up with toys. And knowing that we're giving these toys to the less fortunate was a huge deal. And but for that moment of time that we took doing that, I mean, you had competitors, laughing side by side, giving back to the community. At the end of the day, we're giving back to the community. We set aside, competitiveness and, who can put on more roofs or whatever, anything like that, and gave back to the community. And that's what's really important, is seeing that, especially in a small town like our town, Waco, Texas, I think we've probably got 30 roofers in this town. There's a lot of roofers in a town of 280,000 people. So we all know each other, and we get pretty competitive sometimes, but and there's some guys that can't look past that, and I think it hurts people sometimes, but there were several of us that looked past that, and we came in to help the community. And like I said, some of my best friends are contractors here in this town, and at the end of the day, business is business, but we still are able to set aside that business and be able to help the community and do those kinds of things. So
cool. Has there been any measurable return on something like that for your business?
I wouldn't say it's a measurable return, and I don't try to measure it because I'm a faithful person, and God tells you to give blindly without expecting something in return. Mm-hmm. And so I do those things not thinking about the outcome of it. But what I do get out of it is friendships, and I get connections with people. And a lot of my connections have come through different organizations like this. So it's not something I could just say, yeah, I landed a $1 million job off of this, but I have landed jobs off of it. But I look at that as more of a relationship builder than anything. Mm-hmm. And I think relationships are very vital to making a company succeed.
Sure. Yeah, and I definitely don't encourage, if you're going to go into giving for the sole purpose of what you can get back, for your business, then that'll be pretty obvious to everybody you're giving to, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to know that you're only in this for this reason, and it's going to be pretty clear. However, for us to think that when you go in and give and sacrifice your time, talent, and resources for the betterment of someone else, and it's genuinely there. And I think everyone's got a different story, you know, like for some people,
sure.
homelessness could hit home like hard because of something, right? Or, you know, I think when people feel that tenderness, you know, that authentic tenderness from your heart of you're doing this, and then, you know, it's got to come from the owner, right? Because people get excited about what ownership's doing. You know, there is great benefit outside of just that. Like, I know folks who are really leveraging it, and I don't think they're doing it in a way that is, dare I say, manipulative or whatever. I think it's really cool because, sure, you're promoting acts of giving, but let's think about what else could be promoted in the roofing industry, you know, or contracting. It's fraud and scams, and, you know, that could be the voice, you know, that people could be hearing that from the voice of the industry. Instead, they, you know, you could call it bragging. I don't think it is. I just think it's promoting good works, you know, and I think when the industry you're seeing, you know, news feeds on LinkedIn and Facebook, you know, crowded with contractors giving back versus, you know, they're in the news for something negative, right? Yeah. That's a good thing to see. And I think it gets people excited, and it brings a lot of dignity to the industry because, you know, there's a lot of great hearted people in this industry. And I think it's a lot of fun when I see people giving back first and foremost for, you know, no reason but the benefit of others, but then they see a benefit because, you know, the more you give, the more you get, you know, you know, sounds like you're a faithful guy. I mean, you can't outgive God, right? You know, kind of thing. So, you know, certainly a journey that I'm stepping into myself, and I'm really curious of more and more and more about how outside of maybe your local congregation, how you're using your business to give back. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah. So Austin, another topic that's really important is, you know, we have the industry, most folks are sharing, and I don't want to say complaining, although some are, that there's no labor, you know, there's no labor, and, you know, we can't get labor. And I found that the ones who are really innovative are the ones who are saying, well, daggum, I'll develop my own, and I got to make my business attractive. It's got to be a place that somebody who is the next generation wants to work, because if I create a ladder for success or ladder of growth, and, you know, they can make a steady living and transition, you know, not just go to school and get a bunch of debt, you know, and step into some office job that's way overrated versus being a part of a cool company, making some kind of a difference and getting paid for it. I'm finding that companies that are doing that they're setting themselves up to differentiate and to compete long term, while everybody else is. Sure, I think subcontracting is certainly like out there an option. You got to really partner with them, the right ones, or else your name is on the line and your brand reputation's, you know, at risk. But for sure, you know, we have a situation where we gotta get more people into this industry if you're going to clear more work and grow. So, talk to me about how you are doing that. Like you mentioned, going to the tech school and stuff. Like, how is that solving that problem? And is this something that other contractors could do too?
Well, I mean, I'll start off by saying this, that, man, I know a lot of big companies, you know, 30, 40, $50 million companies that use subcontracting. And, you know, I'll tell you that we subcontract as well on labor. But, and you talked about partnering with those subcontract crews for the labor. It's very important to, you know, create a relationship with those guys. Like we've created a relationship with our guys. Now they're not full-time employees, but they work, you know, for us. They don't work for any other companies. But they are considered a sub crew. They're just not a full-time employee. So we keep those guys happy, and we treat them right, and we treat them like they, you know, are one of us. You know, but it is very vital to find a young generation, you know, and you know, teach them that it's okay to work with your hands. And I've looked at getting with our local schools here in town to start, getting with kids and talking about that. Because I think the school districts push a lot of the, traditional schools, but I think there's some that are starting to push it where, trade school is a good option, because it is, like you said, it's getting harder and harder to find people that want to work, without breaking the bank. And at the end of the day, positions are only worth so much. And, if you start paying too much, it doesn't make sense to me in business, because only some jobs only allow to pay so much. And, especially when it comes down to prevailing wages and government jobs and stuff like that. If you start paying too much, it's going to outbid you on jobs. And so finding those people is very tough. Like I said, we're going to try to go into the technical school here locally and become a recruiter and get with those kids there and see if we can find some good young talent and start developing some young crews. But I think it's very important. I think the one thing that a lot of contractors miss out on, whether they be an owner, whether they be a sales guy, whatever you have. So I think what they miss out on is they start up here. They say, hey, I want to start a roofing business, or I want to start a contracting business, and they've been in sales previously, so they figure out how to do it, and that's what they start doing. What they miss out on is they miss out on the critical piece of actually doing the work. And like myself, I came from the roof. I was a detailer on single plies. I did tear offs. I did build backs. So I actually know what it's like to work out on the roof. I was a repair guy for several years. And it's taken me, like I said, 16 years to get where I am today. I think it's a vital key that a lot of people miss. And that hurts them in the aspect of what it takes to actually do the job. A lot of people sit back, crack a whip, and say, "Come on, get after it." But at the end of the day, they don't realize how hard that work is, and it is a hard job. And they should be rewarded for that hard work. And so, me coming from the roof, I think it's always key that whether like our superintendents, our sales guys, project managers, they get some time out there on the roof and actually learn how to do it, and see what it's like. Because if you don't have the same respect for those guys that are out there in the field, working in 110-degree weather, or working in, our guys were working in 20-degree weather a couple weeks ago up in Lubbock. I think it was down to like 17. So you gain a new respect for those guys. So it's one of those things we're just having to evolve. The industry is evolving and the labor force is evolving. Right now it's kind of who you can get, and you just have to train them to the best of your ability and overwatch everything they're doing.
Right. Yeah, training is so key, right? If you don't have a way of evaluating them or growing them or developing them, just like in sales or estimating or anything. I mean, the companies that are really doing the best in their markets are companies that are their own farm system, right? They develop their own little farm system of how to grow people. And, if you get somebody who wants to be a part of something, they're faithful, they work hard, they don't know the trade, but you can teach them. That's because, just like anything, you can go to trade school, but you don't really know until you're out there anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, community engagement overall, for the benefit of others and for growing your own business through recruiting and things like that. It sounds like you're pretty early on the journey, but you've already tasted it. You've given back. You're starting to recruit, and you're beginning to take action. And that leads me to think, what would you say to a lot of companies out there? This could be anybody in the country who listens to this, is watching this. What would you say to an owner, right now who's not doing anything? what were they missing out on if they don't take action and start engaging the community? Like what's gonna be missing out for there? What advice would you give them, for them?
It's just like I tell, and it could be an owner, it could be a sales guy, it could be an estimator. You're missing out on relationships. And at the end of the day, the key to our business in the contracting world is relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not building those relationships, if you're sitting back waiting for people to come to you, I promise you're not going to grow. No amount of marketing can, you can spend a lot of money on marketing. I know a lot of guys that spend a lot of money on marketing, and I can tell you we spend, probably less than $10,000 a year on marketing. All of our stuff is built on relationships, and those relationships are built after 5 o'clock. Whether it be in church, whether it be in life groups, whether it be in, just in community engagement, going to different events, social events, stuff like that. So I would say that if you're not doing that, you can't expect your business to grow if you're not growing those relationships.
You could spend $10,000 a month on marketing that's transactional, or you can put your time, not spend the money, and just put more time and start networking and engage the community, give back. And
like I said, the big thing with that is people buy from people, especially in your hometown. Now when it comes down to the general contractors, when you're publicly bidding stuff, competitive bid stuff, that relationships really don't do a whole lot there. Sometimes they do, but by my experience, a lot of times they don't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's low bid. So there's nothing you can do about that. But when it comes to the private work, which is very, very vital to our industry and keeping a company successful, especially in your hometown, is the relationships. If those people know you, they know they can trust you, they know that you're involved in the community, that you're not just sitting behind a desk all day long. They trust you more. They're more apt to, call you and that's it. I have several customers, they call me. I'm the only person they call. Yeah. And it's because I built that relationship with them outside of work. They know who I am. They know me personally. They know my family. I try to do that even with the contractors. I've built, amazing relationships with contractors and a few other people in town. So it's very important.
Yeah. If you don't engage the community, you're missing out on relationships. If you don't have relationships, you're stuck in a low bid world. You're trying to compete on price. Try to compete on price. You don't make a lot of money. You're not in business.
And that the other thing that it does for you too is, man, I can't tell you in the last, like I said, our company, we've been doing, our Montgomery Construction and Roofing, we've been doing this now for 5 years in commercial roofing. I can't tell you in the last 3 years how many times I've cold called and knocked doors. My cold calling is building relationships with people. That's how I form those relationships.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell a lot of our sales guys, or really anybody. It comes down to our superintendents, our project managers, our guys out in the field. You're the face of our company. If you're out there at, lunch and you see that a restaurant's got a leak in it, build a relationship with that person, talk to them. Everybody is a salesman. So it's very, very vital that you recognize those relationships and you nurture them and you continue to build on them. That way you stay involved in that person's life. And I know it gets hard, but it's very vital for the success of you personally and the company.
Right. And it's not like you're saying that everybody be everyone's best friend, right? It's just like, let's build something authentic. That's not, because people buy from people, and you're right. I mean, and I teach that, in my program. It's, door knocking certainly works for a lot of people, but relationship building is a completely different angle, has a different speed about it, but the closing ratio is a lot higher and the selling cycle is a lot faster.
Sure.
in terms of its overall, breadth and width of the scope of what you're doing. And it's a different approach, and that has a long tail effect. So But anyway, man, thanks for hanging out. I want to say that, you have a really nice presence online on Facebook and LinkedIn. So for folks who like to just, connect and are on Facebook, if they should be working or making some sales and they're on Facebook, they or with their family. But you do a great job just kind of mentoring. I see like a lot of, good feedback, and you have a good integrity about you. So if you're not connected to Austin, definitely connect with, I'm encouraging you guys to connect with Austin, because he's in a lot of these groups, and I see him really kind of engaging, with a nice level of integrity that I think is good for the industry. So
Sure.
definitely think that, I'm just telling everybody to connect with you, Austin. So other than that, they can reach you through, I'm sure, just those channels pretty easily.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You guys will hopefully connect, and hopefully this inspired some folks out there. And but thanks again for hanging out and talking a little bit about what you guys are doing. And see you around.
I appreciate you having me on today, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks.